a special guest all the way from New Zealand tonight.
Really excited to chat to a day one Warrior. Let's bring him in.
We are, yes. So tonight we are joined by a man who played 115 games over 6 seasons for the Warriors between 95 and 2000. He also played 239 games for the Bradford Bulls in the English Super League from 2001 to 2008 and 25 tests for the Kiwis. We are pleased to be joined by a 1995 original. Please welcome Warrior number 18, Joe Vagana. Hey, Joe, how are you, bro?
Hey, boys. Yep, good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
Well, mate, we're so excited to talk to you as day one diehards ourselves. We're really excited to talk to a 1995 OG.
Yeah.
So to start things off, can you tell us where you grew up and who you played your junior footy for?
Yeah, sure. Hey, yeah, like you said, boys, thanks for having me. And
Pleasure.
First time on the show. So yeah, it's a first. So yeah, thanks for having me, boys. But yep, born and raised in Auckland, Central, Greyland, the mighty Richmond Rovers in Greyland.
Oh yeah.
Started my as a 8-year-old, actually, 8 years old. I was just about maybe 500 meters from our home at Greyland Park, and all my junior footy played Premier football at 16. Had a game at 16, and then Bartercard Cup came in '94, and played for North Harbour. And then the Warriors came 1995 and had a ball.
Yeah, well, it was announced in '93 that the ARL had granted the Auckland Warriors a license to join the competition in '95. That must have created quite a buzz around New Zealand, especially for potential players like yourself, who are going to get the opportunity to play at home.
Oh, definitely. Born in now a little rugby league community. I was growing up watching the Winfield Cup, it was called back then. It was a brown leather ball. I think we had 3 channels that you'd watch it on. So to have the talks about actually playing in this competition that we grew up watching, was just unreal. So definitely a big buzz, especially for I think '93. I must have been 16, 17, I think. Growing up playing and having a potential of all these talks about this playing in the NRL. Yeah, it was exciting times.
Yeah. So how did you come to sign with the club? And can you tell us a bit about your emotions at the time?
Well, yeah, like you said, it was '93 they started signing guys up. I must have been 93. Oh, geez, how old was I? 16, 17, I think. And back then you'd make the Auckland teams, the age group team. So at a young age, I was making the rep teams for Auckland, and there was only Auckland A or Auckland B. These days you've got all sorts of zones and this zone and that zone in Auckland now that you make. But back in those days, you either made the Auckland team or you didn't make the Auckland team. And then I think John Eklund was around those days as well. He was one of the rep coaches back then in those, as us growing up. I think we got caught in the office. It was Laurie Stubbings. Laurie Stubbings was the first New Zealand Warriors manager, and at the time he pulled myself and my dad in, and he said, "We want to sign us up, sign me up for $2,000." And at that time, hey man, I was over the moon, $2,000. That was like, oh man. Before then, up until then, I was getting paid a bowl of chop suey and rice to play the game. So to get off the $2,000, my dad was in tears, and he just said, "Yeah, take him. He's yours. He's, just do what you need to do." And it was quite a proud day for the old man. But yeah, $2,000. So big money back then.
Oh yeah, it was. Can you tell us what it was like that first preseason? You know, coming in, training at a brand new club, and you know, being a professional rugby league player now, and coming in there with a mix of, you know, unknown New Zealand talent, but some really experienced players from Australia and England as well, like, you know, Greg Alexander, Phil Blake, Dean Bell, and then you had like Dennis Betts and
Andy
what was
Platt.
the other guy?
Yeah.
Andy Platt came
Andy
over
Platt,
from
yeah.
England. Yeah.
Frano Botica.
If I take it back, you know, like you're saying, that was a professional, first professional year, but we didn't know what professional rugby league was. Yeah, we, you know, we were still training Tuesday and Thursdays at the local, you know, the local ground. And in '94, I was playing with the North Harbour Sea Eagles in the inaugural Lion Red Cup, and I remember the preseason for that. We did the beep test, and I think most of us all pulled out at about level 7, you know. So, and for anyone who knows the beep test, I think the front rows these days go to level 12, 13, you know. So, so you know, and I'm not talking about me at level 7. I'm talking about the whole team at level 7. So. You know, so that was our professionalism. You know, it was Tuesday, Thursday. So to come up and one, you know, we weren't training at the local gym. We were training in this. Well, to us, it was $1 million facility. You know, the facility at Beasley Ave, they converted a whole warehouse, and they had a pool, they had a gym, they had. I mean, shit, you know, like we're like, whoa. Hey, we're still 17, 18 kids, you know, like, it was mind blowing. So yeah, it was pretty exciting times. And then, you know, like you said, Brandy, Greg Alexander to be in the changing room with this guy, the Dean Bells, Phil Blakes. It was like, shit, you know, it was like, we were too scared to talk, you know, we're just in the kid in the candy store. So it was just overall, it was just such an exciting time, just to be in the environment, you know, doing what we love doing at a whole nother level. You know, having a fitness test, it was new things to us. Having a bench press test, height jump test. We had a guy, the first trainer, he come from America, so he was, you know, he was I think a state college wrestling champion, and he was a powerlifting champion, and he come in. Obviously the gridiron and rugby league is totally different sport, so he got us pumping weights and lifting. You know, we're pretty massive. So it was training. I think we were starting at 7:30 in the mornings till 3 in the afternoons, and just free clothes. We're getting all set. So if you can imagine, these island boys, myself including, you know, just coming from a Tuesday, Thursday fundraising to get our tracksuit. Usually, you know, trying to get one tracksuit to get all these sponsored gears thrown at us. Like, damn, we got Christmas every day. So it's pretty special.
All the DB Bitter gear. Yeah.
All the DB. We even got a tray of DB Bitter. You know, once a week, I think it was. So it was all in our locker room. Like, wasn't the best tasting beer, but hey, we took it. They were giving it to us. Yeah.
Have you still got some of the gears that they gave you?
Mate, I didn't have the gears after the first year. My family all had it. You know, like I was born and raised in Auckland. Yeah, born and raised in Auckland. I'm the youngest of 9, and you know, I couldn't have done what I had done without my family's support, prayers. So you know, and it was a first. I didn't know how long I was going to be there. So you know, as soon as that final, the last game was had, mate, my gears were gone. So,
yeah, well, you
I have actually got the jersey that I wore, the first jersey the playing jersey. So I have got my first jersey.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's good. The bird jersey, that'd be
awesome. Great one to hang on to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you blokes were we're busy training and sweating it out in the gym, pumping iron. The whole country was gripped with Warriors fever heading into that first game in 1995. How do you remember the build up to that very first game?
Well, I tell people now, you know, like when I look back at now, it was almost like we're on par with the All Blacks, you know, on that, the hype, you know, the hype is going on in New Zealand. I mean, as you guys will know, rugby is always going to be the #1 sport in New Zealand. But for that first year, and especially before that first game, oh man, it was unreal. I mean, we were jet boating into the viaduct for our jerseys presentation. You know, they had the team coming from, I forgot which part of the viaduct, jet boating, and all of it. We all had jet skis coming into in the viaduct. And they had I think Hercules, the film was getting filmed in New Zealand, so we had the actor, you know, waiting as one of the.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, he was waiting in the viaduct, and you know the lights were going on, and this was, I think they were just naming the team the week before the game. You know, it was like, honestly, mate, it was just like we thought we were living a dream. We were in the dream world. It was just unreal. I wasn't named in the first team that week, but just being part of it, I think that week of the week of the first game, we also had a fitness test. We got flogged. And it was an open training. It was an open training, and we had about maybe 10,000 people at the stadium down Smart to watch us train the week before, and oh my gosh, they killed us. They literally absolutely killed us. We're like shit. But I just obviously the March 10th will stay in the hearts for a long time for myself, and you know, it was just, you know, numbing. We played the first game. I think we had 30,000. I think it might have been a full stadium when we played, and we were in the reserve grade. And then we quickly, you know, we were buzzing from our first game in front of the biggest crowd that we've ever played in front of, and in front of our families. So we quickly, I think half the boys, or if not 90% of the boys, didn't even shower. We just put on our #1s and ran outside, because if you can remember those first days, or the first year especially, the pre-entertainment was worth the admission on its own. I think we averaged on, I forget the numbers, but I think it was 100,000 they used to spend on the entertainment, pre-match entertainment.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was a big. It was something like that. I don't know the exact number, but it was a lot of money. The pre-game entertainment. So, so we raced out there, man. It was just electrifying. It was like 30,000. You couldn't hear yourself think. And then when the boys, the tunnel lit up, you know, the flames started going. It was like, boom, the drums were going, the crowds was roaring. Yeah, it was pretty special.
It was a massive atmosphere, wasn't it?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, anyone who attended or even watched that game at Mount Smart will never forget that spectacle of, you know, the boys walking out in the tunnel, the fire, going either side of them, the drums being played, and you just touched on it. But yeah, what was it like playing, which was essentially the opening act in that reserve grade game that day? Was like 30,000 people there watching you guys play. Just would have been.
Yeah, I think they put on extra seating. They put on extra seating. I think they had, you know, put an extra 5,000 seats. The tickets was in such a demand. It was just it was Warrior mania, so to speak. But it's one of those. It went by just like that. They came and they went, and we just went on this awesome ride. But you know, like I said, it was the reserve grade was a lot of us Kiwi-based players that had a year before. I think we played in front of maybe 500 people, 1,000 people. You know, that's the capacity of no, I lie. We had some good crowds, but not to 35,000. of 30 odd thousand,
Nah.
and not to the hype that was going that night. You know, and we're, you know, like I said, not so long before that, we were watching it on the TV, on the three channel TV that we had in growing up in New Zealand.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the reserve grade side. Well, that had some pretty handy players involved in that game and throughout the year. None more so than an 18-year-old kid named Stacey Jones. Did you have much to do with him growing up and playing footy?
Yeah, he was. Well, we attended high school together. I'm the same age as his brothers. He's got twin brothers, so he was always the snotty brother, little brother. That, you know, that was a couple. I think he's 2 or 3 years younger than myself. So yeah, we were St. Paul's College, which is known as a breeding ground for rugby league boys. You know, we've had a lot of successful names that have come out from St. Paul's College. And I guess the most noting name is Mark Graham.
Yep.
You know, he's come out, you know, if not the greatest rugby league player to come out, arguably.
Yep.
Yeah, so Stacey was there with likes of, well, my cousin Nigel. You know, we were, me and him 2 weeks apart. Dave Solomona, he's the same age as Stacey. I think that was just our year. We had Greg Wolfgram, who played for Canberra.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember.
So yeah, we had some in our time. Yeah, we had some had a bit of time with Stacey, you know, through the college, and then because of his talent, as we made age groups, he was always playing. He made some rep teams that are, you know, above his year.
Yep.
So
that opening game in '95, that main game that night was the ultimate one that got away, really, with a little bit of Alfie Langer magic getting the Broncos home. What's your recollection being there live at the game, just experiencing that whole atmosphere?
Yeah, well, I guess, you know, like the hype was, there was, you know, if I put it to like the Tongan game,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
the chanting,
Yes.
there was just non-stop.
Yes.
It was just like, but this was just 35,000 Tongans, you know, in Warriors jersey. You know, it was one of those special moments, and, you know, to be just about to beat the reigning premiers, I think they were.
Yeah.
A team stacked of stars that were just, we were like, man, we're on the verge. But then yeah, like you said, I think that 4-foot halfback, number 7, like he did so many times in his career, he just he crushed us in that last with his, was it a chip kick? You know, he looks one way and chips the other way to himself and regather.
He was unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's you know, look back at now, and, you know, that was probably the only thing that ruined a perfect night, I guess, at opening night.
Yeah.
But you know, I can't take away the whole event as a whole. To be part of the first bunch of players to be have a New Zealand team in this NRL, what was it?
ARL.
ARL, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was special, you know, for us, your local boys, just having our families out there. Like I said, you know, we've all grown up, you know, and I speak on all the boys that were from the local. We were fundraising growing up, juniors. There was grassroots rugby was tough, so, you know, there was a lot of tote tickets sold by the parents. There was a lot of barbecues done. There was a lot of just to, you know, to get us to regional tournaments, and that was in Rotorua or as far as Christchurch. So our parents did a lot of fundraising. So to be able to play in front of that, be part of that team, and have our parents, have our families sit on the sideline wearing our gears that we weren't supposed to give away, but they took. You know, yeah, you can't beat those. Those memories will live in our hearts for a long time.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Well, the very next week we travel to Wollongong to take on the Illawarra Steelers, and you actually make your first grade debut. So what was the conversation with John Money like leading up to that?
You know, because I think it was Gavin Hill got injured. I think it was through injury, and I think that week leading up to it was a blur because it was, I got given the nod, and I wasn't. It was nerves and shitting myself that I'm going to be playing, but and excitement as well, to be basically live the dream, about to live the start my role as a football player and having being named in the first team. It's just I think all the emotions come with it. Just watching the parents, my family being proud of that, because they come with me. They ride with my achievement was their achievements, and likewise, when I achieved, they achieved, because it was I guess the old it takes a village. Well, I had a pretty good village, so it was my way of saying thanks, having that first game. So had to get some extra tickets, but we better get me tickets. I was going, shit, I haven't even played a game and asking for more tickets. I was a bit too shy, so but I managed to get the olds their tickets, and so everybody, we had everybody turn out. But again, it was another packed state every week. I'm pretty sure it was over 30,000 people that turned up every week for that first year.
We lost that game 28-40 against the Steelers. Aside from the result, what are your memories of making your ARL debut like?
Nerves. And I remember having a big power chuck in the
You remember
bathroom.
much about the game?
Nope. But I remember it was. I guess it's you think about it for so many years, and then all of a sudden you're actually playing in this wild dream that you thought you're never going to be playing in, and it's and again you get I was at 18, 19. I'm on the main stage. I'm part of the main game, and so I was excited. I was nervous. I was playing again. I think it was Rod Wishart. I was looking at he was the winger. New South Wales winger, Rod Wishart, Paul McGregor, and there was the Queensland prop, Dale Fritz,
big bad Darren Fritz. Darren Fritz with the mullet. Yeah, he was a monster of a man. Yeah.
So and like. Got to mark up, all these. And there's a gangly second row. I forgot his name, but he was a quality Gooley.
Scott Goulet.
Scott Goulet, yeah. So, there was, quality players everywhere. Look at these guys, and people talk about these, the likes of these guys nowadays, and even for me sitting now and talking. I can't believe I've played alongside some of these guys, that these people talk about 20, 30 years after they've retired. So, I know I struggled to breathe after. I think I was that excited. I got on the field, and it was just the hype of it, the speed of it. I'm like, shit. I should have went for those runs that my coaches used to tell me, but definitely
done the extras.
But definitely one of those games that those moments that I'll never forget. So special day.
Round 3. The club records the first ever win with a massive victory over the Western Suburbs Magpies in front of 21,000 home fans. Unfortunately, it will be remembered for an interchange mishap that led to us having an extra player used on the field and having 2 competition points deducted. How do you remember that well-publicised event?
I remember us being about 30 points up. I'm sitting on the bench high-fiving the boys. And then I get the call up. I mean, And obviously, hey, we're just players. I don't count how many subs they've done or not done.
That's right.
So the sun's shining. We're having a good win. There's no chance of them winning. My name gets called. I get thrown on the field. We're all high-fiving after the game. Everybody's happy dory. And then, I think it was a day or maybe that night, we got told we get disqualified 2 points.
Yeah.
And everybody points out, and the extra substitute, Joe Vagana, was going, it was, hey, what did you do? I said, I didn't make the call to put myself so, and it just happened that year we missed out on the top 8 by 2 points, I think it was. So,
Yes, you did. Yep.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, boys. I was trying to forget
no
about
worries,
that,
bro.
maybe, but yeah, thanks.
We
Thanks,
didn't want you
boys.
to blame yourself, though.
Sorry, buddy. It's all about the total coverage.
Exactly. We did get our first official win in the round 6 game against Illawarra Steelers in front of a home crowd of 32,000 people. Can you tell us the feelings and emotions with the squad on that day to finally record 2 competition points that you could keep?
Yeah.
Actually, get the 2 points.
Yeah, we had to wait there and make sure they confirm it, a couple of days after. But I guess, even that game, just the hype for us new guys, just the hype was still there around the organization. And, like everybody, you put the preseason hard work in, the first few games, the first one we just lost in the last minute, and then, we get a bit of a, so to come away with that win was just a bit of a exciting, because it was our first ever recorded ARL win, as well as a relief, because I guess when you got all this, the support we did have those days, you just want to get a win, not only for the boys ourselves, but for everybody else that's on the Warriors train. So bit of relief. It was a lot of relief, a lot of excitement. It was.
Well, the 1995 season itself is somewhat inconsistent, unusual, I know, for the Warriors. But we string together 6 consecutive wins late in the season to set up a possible top 8 finish. So we're right in it. So ultimately, we fall just short and are pounded by the Broncos at ANZ Stadium in the final round. 4 tries from Steve Renouf. I remember it well because I was there. How do you look back on and remember the Warriors' first ever season, the 95 season? How do you sort of look back on that as a whole?
As a whole, as a player, special. It was a special. Regardless where we finished and how we finished, it was one of those. Every single game was a first. That whole year was a lot of firsts for as a club, as a player, as individuals, as a team. It was a first for all of us. So off the field, on the field, it was new. Like I said, the training daily, training 5 to 6 days a week was new. We were getting our heads around it, flying overseas, and we'd never been flying anywhere. And next thing we're on flying pretty much every second week, staying in hotels. It was just a year of, I guess. News. Everything was new for us, and it was so exciting for us, and we're just like living the dream for a year, just that first year. On the field, was a lot of learning. The body was battered because we'd first time ever played in that type of competition, week in, week out, no easy games. You get battered, you get battered. The next day you're back on the weights, you're back on in the pool, you're training. So the body was adapting to all this, going, what the hell's happening here? Type scenario. So and to miss out, like I said, by 2 points to be in the top 8, that would have been one of those. If only it was they gave us that shit call, for whoever made, whatever. There was no one reason why we didn't make the top 8. It was, a whole case of a few things, and we just missed out. And it would have been that special moment, just like the first game. It would have been such a special. We're talking about that first game in front of a packed crowd, home game, and we beat the reigning premiers. Wasn't meant to be, but it was. Can't take away the special moments I've had in that first year, the friends, the bonds that we've had. And to be here, I was fortunate to. That was one of first of a few years. So I was quite blessed.
You spoke before about traveling and staying in hotels and so forth. Did you have a roommate when you traveled to Australia to play games? And if so, who was it?
I got roommate with Andy Platt a couple of times, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He was a seasoned professional player from Wigan at the time. The first part was trying to understand his Yorkshire, not Yorkshire, his English accent, So, but he was brick shithouse that fella. He was just a solid muscle.
Yeah.
So roommate of him, and he was older than me. So had to do my chores and ask the old fella if he needed a cup of tea, and then got to earn my way up. So up the ladder, and take my shoe, make the tea. As you do, mate. You had to, like you said, back in those days, they got to start from the bottom and earn your way up. But awesome guy. I also got roommate with Sid Area a lot over the years. I always try to, I always ask not to be roomed with him, but he always used to get me in trouble. Mate, these fellas, I think these hookers from Porirua, mate,
There's something about these hookers, isn't it? It's always hookers.
Mate, it's always the small guys that get you in trouble, and they always, they're always cheeky, and then after a couple of beers, they get worse. We had some
little man.
Oh, not wrong. But we had a blast, mate. Had a blast. I mean, like I said, it's staying in hotels, flying in, getting koru lounges, car parks, to go to hotels, breakfast, lunch, dinner as well. I think some of us put on weight. We just go like, oh shit, and then I think they had to ban some of us. Say, hey, you guys skipped your lunch, go have a sandwich. He's putting on too much weight. But, like I said, it was just it was just an eye opener that first year. We had such a great time, learnt a lot, found out a lot about ourselves because although we were living the dream, there was always Monday to Friday of training and getting flogged and testing and bashing the body around. And that was the first year that a lot of us had to condition the body and the mind to do it week in, day out. And as we all know, the injuries are part of the game. You fall out of favour, you lose mates along the way. It was definitely a journey, but definitely one that I cherish.
We must talk about the Super League war, which erupted early in that 95 season. How much of an impact was it on you guys as a player, and was a decision made early on by the club to align with Super League? And what do you remember about their approach to you?
It was spoke about. Well, we were still rookies in the game, eh? We're the young bucks. A lot of us didn't even have agents. We're just going off the back of where to go, who to talk to. I remember when those Super League talks happened, when it actually happened. We all got called in. and we got told we all have to go to, it's called the it was the Langham Hotel, I think it's called. It was in Auckland. Oh, the Sheraton Hotel. Had to meet the boss of Super League,
Oh, yeah.
and if you don't sign there, you'll miss the bus, and so us young guys, you had no agents. We were like, oh shit, okay, well, we better go up and sign there, you know. And I'm talking about a lot of us guys,
Yeah.
you know. Some of us had played. We had about a year or 2 years under our belt now, and so, you know, no agents. New to us. We're going to see the owners of the new competition one on one, or one. You know, we're going in by ourselves. We get thrown this check in front of us, and at that time I went, oh shit, yeah, I'll do this. So we signed, and the next day we've gone, oh, did everybody sign? And then the guys who are experienced guys are going, oh no, we've got to talk to our manager. We've given it to our manager. We said, oh shit, we thought we had to sign today. They told us that we missed the bus and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, that's, I guess, yeah. And then you know, it's we found out later on that guys had waited and signed for all sorts of dollars, and then they signed guys who had never played ARL any first grade games, signed them on way double than what we got signed for, just to get the numbers in the competition. And we're like, oh man, we got told. But yeah, like I said, we're just the young bucks, and yeah, that's how it was done.
Yeah, well, speaking of Super League, it threatens to derail the 1996 season, but the two competitions eventually do come back together to unite to play out the season. And in round 3, we play Western Suburbs in a fiery clash out at Campbelltown Stadium, and you yourself produce a juggling act to score your first career try. You must remember that one.
First of many.
Yeah, of course. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I was correct, it was Andrew the fullback. He was
Andrew Leeds.
Andrew Leeds.
Yep.
Lucky I had him in front of me. I think it was I got given the short ball. I think it. Well, I tell people it bounced off my big chest, but someone said it bounced off my stomach, and I jumped it up. Had a bit of a fumble in the air, and yeah, luckily got it down, but just around the sticks, if I recall correctly. But
yeah, right. Sticks, yep.
Yeah, so yeah, well, it's one of those. The more I tell it, you know, over the years, I went from about 7 meters out from the try line to about 65 meters out, and I beat about 10 players. But in reality, I think I just fumbled the ball, caught it, and fell over Andrew. Yeah.
That in 95 you play 8 games, mainly coming off the interchange bench, but in 96 you become pretty heavily entrenched in that Warriors first grade squad, playing 20 games that season. That must have been awesome for you to be playing top grade footy every week.
Yeah, again, you know, Auckland was my hometown, and to be part of this Auckland team and playing alongside some of my mates, you know, and playing alongside these Aussie superstar, you know, stars that we had in our team was it was a special moment. So everybody aims to get to the first grade. That's you know, that's the pinnacle for any club players. You're trying to get to that first grade spot, and I was lucky to get into it in round 2. Broke my arm later on that year over in 95, so to come back in 96 and get a few games under my belt, on and off from the bench to starting, it was, you know, I had a year under my belt, getting conditioned, body hardened, better training attitude, everything. I was a bit more 1 year accustomed to the hard the life of a full-time rugby league player, and also getting the not only on the field and under training room, but also comes the when you're in the limelight or when you're in the spotlight, it's comes when things are going good, it's fine, but when it's not so good, you get all the chatter from the crowd, the fans, and the public, if I see you out and about, he's a shit, you this and that, and why are you in the team? And you've got to be mentally tough. But that's, I guess it's part and parcel, but, these guys these days, it's, we didn't have phone cameras when we were around age, so I feel for the boys, I think some of them pick their nose and they get, photo taken up in large and put on the paper, or so and so's pick their nose at this bar 1 o'clock in the morning. But
not only that, rather than getting abused to their face, they get social media posts put on,
and it's and with mental health these days, it's it's been around, but obviously over recent years it's been highlighted, and it's good to make aware that these guys, not everybody, we see that we started this as something we love to do, and we've just been put in we're just fortunate and blessed to be put in roles and earn good money for it, so unfortunately it's one of those that come with the territory of being in the spotlight, and that's all sport.
It is.
Yeah, well, again, well said. Yeah, again, inconsistency plagues the 1996 season, and again, we finished just short of a finals berth. You kind of touched on this before, but how tough was it to back up from an obviously emotional debut season for the whole club to sort of back it up for that second season?
Well, looking back at it now, that first season, you're riding on a high because it's the first, and just on this high, and then after that first year, that goes away, and we just missed out. We're a bit bummed, so we're pumped, but we're pumped for the following year, knowing, oh shit, we just missed out, and it was because of whoever sent Joe on the field and made him the fifth, the extra sub, but. The inconsistency, and that second year wasn't so, because it was our second year. It was when you have to play this game at a high level, you got to be mentally tough as well as physically tough in this game. And obviously, for us back then, we weren't up to, we weren't physically, mentally tough week in, week out, and that's the cold hard truth. I mean, the ability there, we could play, we could beat any team when we played to our potential, but to play it 80 minutes and not slack off like it is today. It's a simple game, our rugby league. If you play it simple and play it for 80 minutes and play it tough, you win 90% of games, if not more. But it's it's always up here, the mental toughness. That I think that's always been Achilles' heel for well, that's what I put it down to. Is mental toughness, week in, week out. They were saying about flights. Well, we had to fly over. Yeah, we did have to fly over, but we weren't flying uncomfortably. We were in the day before. We got used to it. Again, we did it the first year. So the second year, we were used to it. So I don't put any games that we've lost because we flew and we were flying and all that sort of stuff. It was just being consistent for 80 minutes. We weren't. We weren't.
At the end of the 96 season, you're rewarded being selected in the Kiwi squad. And you play 5 tests, 2 against Papua New Guinea and 3 against Great Britain. You make your debut at Rotorua in 62-8 thrashing of the Kumals. What was it like making your debut for your country?
Oh well, like I said, the first grade, um, the the first goal was to make the NRL team, and then
Yep.
when you're trying to get into there and trying to prove yourself in there, well, obviously the next is well, there was no Queensland or New South Wales. It was the Kiwis team, and so to get the call up, well, yeah, as you can imagine, it was a special. Got the phone call from Frank, who had known from the junior Kiwis. He was our junior Kiwi coach in '92. So I've had a couple of years under Frank, and he was also the reserve grade coach for the Warriors in the first couple of years. So to get the call up was, it was special. I remember going into my room. I forgot what hotel. It was the first day of camp, meeting up the room, and I'm rooming with Quinton Pongia. This is only my second year. I'm still a rookie. That guy's, done it all. He's scary, I walk in the room. He's lying on the bed. He's got the blankets pulled over, and all you can see is his feet with black toenails. He's got black toenails. He's just a West Coast fellow, and he's looked at me as, hey, hey boy. Hi Quinton. Hi, how you going? And back then the beds are right next to each other, double beds, but he just had that aura, he was the one guy who, obviously a great front row. I think the greatest front row I've played alongside. But just his aura and his work ethic and his mana that he had, as a second year rugby league NRL or ARL player to come in, and your roomies Quinton Pongia, like holy shit. It was quite intimidating, but I wouldn't have changed it because I learned how somebody who gets to that level is supposed to act. So
you scored your
Yep.
You scored your first international try in the second game against the Commonwealth. Do you remember that? Do you remember anything about that try?
I think that was from 70 out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Dummied, stepped.
I think Rotorua Stadium. I think that was
Yep.
I think Grant and it was a big score because and Grant Young was also the other front row who'd made his debut. And I think he scored
64-0 that day.
Hey?
That was 64-0 that day. He's won that game.
Yeah. But the scoreline didn't show how tough these Kumals were. Man, they were, I don't know if you've ever played against the Kumal boys, they're just like
made
90 kilos of muscle.
Yeah, just solid.
Man, honest, they're just like, I was like, shit. They're probably 5'2", but it was 5'2" of bloody iron rock. So despite us winning a big scoreline, it was some pretty battled and some big knocks, and they didn't have the stars that they have these days. They had one or two just breaking through the NRL teams. I think that team, we obviously had a good win. But Grant Fox scored one, and so he was making his debut, and I was lucky to get a meat pie not long after him. But and that, again, one of those special moments. First couple of putting on that black jersey, the family all drove down, all that sort of stuff, and special moments. It was I think because we had a 5-week tour, because we had Great Britain after the 3 tests against Great Britain, after the 2 against the Commonwealth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so from the high of making your test debut, we go into the 1997 season, which is the official first ever Super League season. And it's a year that no rugby league fan will ever forget, and probably for the wrong reasons. So it's obviously the first ever split competition. You play in round one against the Broncos at ANZ Stadium, a game I was lucky enough to attend. And the pre-game show was spectacular. I mean, I remember they had a laser show across the field and musical acts, and this was the whole Super League vibe that they were bringing in. Was this an exciting time for yourself and the club going into the first actual Super League season?
Yeah, I mean, it was a strange time because, you know, like you said, the competition was split, and there was talks of, which competition was better than who. You know, you're missing these players in this comp and these players in that comp. So I guess we were in the Super League, and so we were determined to make Super League the competition. So we as players, and again, this is my third year, so we're still very raw. You know, I'm still on the excitement train of being able to play and do what I love doing and get paid for it. Definitely there was still excitement there, but it was a strange, especially early on with a split competition. I do remember we had Super League brought in these new balls, which are almost like rounded balls. I don't know if they lasted the whole comp. I don't think they did, but it was massive balls. Not my balls, but the rugby balls.
Yeah. That Super League season itself is a bit of a disappointment for the club, despite the late fight back where we win 4 of our last 5 games. However, we do enjoy a bit of success in that infamous World Club Challenge. How exciting was it for you guys to still play like with the club team?
Yeah. Well, again, inconsistency, mentally and physically, or mentally not up to the game 80 minutes week in, week out. But to get away, you know, I guess this was our third year, and this is where we start learning about the public pressures of the sport. You know, now that the first year was the fairy tale, inaugural season, then the second year people start having their own, opinions, and then the third season now, you know, like, hey, come on, you know. When I guess it was how we looked at it, it was always we're one team, we're the only team, so we win. If we lose, it was like we get bagged. If we win, they did okay. We're in the year, I think it was the Blues, and the Blues back then were winning, but when they lost, the media would focus on the other New Zealand team that would win, like the Hurricanes, you know. But that's how we felt, anyway. But so to get away for the World Club Challenge, get out of the pressures of hometown scrutiny from our home fans, which was fair enough, you know. But it was just to get out. I think we're based in north of England, and you know, we ended up playing some of their top teams, St. Helens, Bradford at the time. And we ended up winning, and we had some good tough fought wins. And yeah, it was, you know, I guess, like they say, when you win, winners are grinners, and we were grinning. And just to get away out of the, like I said, get away of the pressures of home media, and to get, you know, just to leave that at home for a few weeks and get over there and have some good games under our belt. It was good.
Yeah, well, the club won all 6 games against our UK-based opposition, and the qualifying final against Bradford. So unfortunately, we went down to the Broncos in the semi-final. But what are your thoughts on the competition and the club's success in that World Cup Club Challenge?
Well, I guess if anything, it was the club's success to get to. That was the furthest we went in any comp at that stage. It was the Broncos at ANZ Stadium, I think it was. That you know, and then we didn't have a good night again. A roller coaster night.
Yeah, it was a close game. You know, it wasn't too much in it.
14-12.
but then I think they lost to Cronulla in the final. Did Cronulla win the first, or the
No,
Broncos won?
Hunter Mariners.
Hunter Mariners, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they,
The Broncos beat the Hunter Mariners at it was played at Mount Smart Stadium, yeah.
oh, okay,
Hunter
yeah.
Mariners beat Cronulla in the other semi.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, so I guess as a club, an achievement. That was the first, getting into a semi-final. Although there's always those people, you only played the English and that, but it lifted the spirits for us as players to get to a semi-final, regardless what people were saying. Some people were saying, and to have in a competition that we were, it was the first time that this, which we thought was great, being playing. Going over and playing on the other side of the world was again some first for us, and I guess it showed the differences and the Super League in England compared to the Super League in Australia, New Zealand. So there was a big gap at that time, and I guess unfortunately the English didn't like how big that gap was, because all their top teams lost to, I think all of the teams, and especially the top teams, losing to the likes of us who were struggling in the ARL and beating their top teams. So didn't go too well down for those fellas.
No, the 1998 season sees the competition officially reunite again under the new NRL banner. The club recruits the late great Quentin Pongia. Now, you spoke about him a little bit before, but how much of an influence was he on your career, being, one of the premier props that the New Zealanders produced?
Well, I used to watch him, obviously, as a fellow player, and you have to watch who the best are to be better. Not only play in week out, but you watch how every other prop plays and what their strengths are, what their weaknesses, try and learn. We had VCRs back then, so you'd have to play stop start.
Yep.
I'm sure the boys have got they get centered in the disc and IT everyone here, but so obviously I knew what Quinton was done. He'd done and what he achieved at the Canberra Raiders, him and Johnny Lomax, and then to be signing him, and I guess it was. For a forward, it was like, man, yes, it gave you that confidence. I guess just having somebody of his reputation that he had in the ARL, it was a no nonsense, hard, honest player that earned respect, that demanded respect from everybody on the field. And he played like it was his last game, every game. So, and it was that sort of stuff. But once he did come on, once he was that year when we were training, you see how he plays. But like I mentioned or touched on earlier, it's how he carries himself from the Monday to Friday, how he trains. I mean, I remember doing a pose session on the training, and he used to belt. He used to belt us like he was playing a game. It was that, he used to have froth coming out of his mouth. I'm going, come on, man, this is your training. But that's the mentality that he goes, stuff that you're going to need to be, you need to catch up here. You need to get up here. And this is how we need to play if we need to compete. And that's how he carried himself. It was like, he was one hard bastard. And he's by easiest to the greatest front row I've played with, or the best front row I've played with, even alongside.
Yeah, well, another key 1998 recruit was your cousin Nigel, who returns to the club, and he proves an instant attacking weapon. Was there much of a rivalry between you and him growing up?
No. So we're 2 weeks apart. I'm older than him by 2 weeks. When I mentioned that the house I grew up from, our local park, was about 300 meters from the park. He lived about 20 meters above the clubroom, which is at the park. So we were the same age. We always hung out, went to the same primary school, intermediate schools, high school. So we're pretty close, me and Nigel, but there was no rival, and I was happy to see him back. I think he had come back from Warrington, and he had been, I think Warrington were coming, bottom end of the table, and he was the top try scorer in Super League. So, he's always been a fine finisher. But definitely was glad to have him back.
That another disappointing season ends in 98, and Frank Endicott becomes the second coach to be shown the door in the club's very short history. He's replaced by Kiwi legend Mark Graham for the 99 season. How was your relationship with the three coaches that you played under in John Mooney, Frank Endicott, and then what was it like to be coached by Hall of Famer Mark Graham?
All three different coaches. John Mooney, he wasn't as much a technical coach, and he wasn't I was young, so he wasn't one that I was able to approach. So I got along with him. I wouldn't say he's my favorite coach, but did nothing wrong by me. And I know he at one video session he told me that his grandmother could run faster than me, because on the video, for whatever reason, somebody ran past me and it bummed me out. So I was, and then there was Frank, who was a people person. He was always a bubbly guy, firm when he had to be firm. Probably not as technical as John Mooney, but always had a good relationship with all the boys. And I was sad to see him go. But then, Mark Graham came, the great Mark Graham, and I was buzzing out as he was my favorite player, and so I didn't sign, but
mine too.
Yeah. So I know one of the first things before we first things I did was ask him to sign. I was like that little kid. I had the piece of paper and my paper and my pen, and I was shame. How do I ask him for his autograph? And I got the courage. Hey coach, can you just sign this piece of paper? You're the best day. So. Obviously pretty stoked to be coached by your childhood hero, and he was a no nonsense hard coach. He was very new in his role, and so I remember him coming down, smoking his cigarettes, carrying his clipboard, and coming in the gym that we had in the workshop at Beasley Ave, and putting his clipboard down and just pumping out 160 kilos, just picking it up, just put a cigarette down, and then just casually pumped out some reps on 160 kilos. Here I am in my third year. I'm still trying to get out my 130 kilo reps. I was like, oh shit. Just a beast. But it was three different coaches. One of great. Like I said, good memories of Frank, good memories of Graham, and also with John Mooney. Although he wasn't my favorite, and we didn't connect like I connected with the other two guys, but I look back and have to give him. Obviously he gave me an opportunity as a young player, and gave me the opportunity to get me on the first grade. So very thankful for him. But
well, as we said, Mark Graham took the reins for the 1999 season, but we have a very slow start, but we finish really strongly with some stirring wins, none better than a 42-0 win over Newcastle in the second last round that I'll never forget. Was there a sense of optimism coming off that strong finish of the season heading into 2000?
Yeah, there was. There was, we had a sacking in between. and then new coach taking over and different ideas, different methods, and we start to click and then have a good win. So yeah, we guess optimism that next year is going to be our year.
That's every year for a Warriors supporter.
Yeah, we're very familiar with that.
I'm feeling your voice. I'm now on the other side of the fence where
with us now.
I'm not a player, but I've been riding that roller coaster since I finished from in 2001. So I definitely feel the pain and ride the have the joys when we do have those good games.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we've been riding it since '95. So,
Right.
unfortunately, that 2000 season never really gets going, and we finished with just 8 wins. This proves to be your final season at the club, and we almost fold due to financial pressure. Did you see the writing on the wall at this stage, and is that the reason for your move over to Bradford?
I think obviously they had new there was financial. I mean, as players, and I didn't know what was happening in financially up in the boardrooms and that. Obviously, we know as players that there's takeovers here and there's new owners coming in, but we don't know what numbers what look like. And I'm still 23, 24, so all I'm worried about is just trying to get on the playing pitch, and I just signed a 4-year deal. It was the new owners did come in. I didn't see the writing on the wall. There's things that happened beforehand that led up to it, and I guess there was at the time there was 5 of us current Kiwi players. There was myself, Logan, Swan, Ali Lotiti, Stacey, and Nigel at the club. And I guess we went through some trials and testing times. I stood up for what I believed in, and that was for everybody to get paid what we were owed. There were some young boys, Joe Ngalavale, who ended up winning 2 premierships at other clubs. And we had other people who hadn't been paid for a month or 2, and so we were standing up for what we thought was right, or what we believed was right. But at the end of the day, it didn't. Ended up me moving on. And like I said, I didn't see it on the writing on the wall because I'd signed a 4-year deal. I was always saw myself as a one club man, hopefully winning a premiership with the club. But as we know in sports and rugby league, sometimes what you want and what you get is 2 different things. So unfortunately for me, it was time to move on. Reluctantly, I moved on. But I guess it was a blessing in disguise looking back when I did what I had. So
well, just thinking back on your 6 seasons at the Warriors, you played alongside some of the greats of New Zealand Rugby League, including Dean Bell, Stacey Jones, Stephen Kearney, Matthew Ridge, and Quentin Pongia, to name a few. Who was the player that was your pinch myself moment that you got to play with in Clubland?
In Clubland, well, I guess, like I said, that first year, Greg Alexander, Dean Bell, they were the first year. I mean, there's so many, like I said, you're watching them on telly. Next thing you're in the changing room, you're sitting right next to you, putting on their gears, like shit, There was also another one was John Curran.
Absolutely.
I remember as a kid, 1987, watching him score his tries in the World Cup, and then he's come over, signed for the Warriors, and I think one of the first things he invited myself and 3 of my other young Willie Poaching, I think Mahani Moana, he had a batch. He's still got the batch down in Waihi. And he just said, if he's want to come down for the weekend, and you get this All Black great going, hey, you want to come out and hang out?
Yeah.
And it just happened to be, it was the All Blacks were playing in Europe that time, and it was like a 2 a.m. test match, or 3 a.m, whatever time it was over in Europe, and he slept in, and he came down the next morning. He goes, oh shit, that's the first All Black game I've missed live. It was a first, that is like, so JK was pretty special to lace up my boots, and then as a front row, Quinton Ponga, without a doubt, play alongside him at club level was just unreal.
I can relate, mate. I was a young kid on contract in 1985 at North Sydney, and I can remember we got to go there and do some training in the off season, and sitting there and looking at Olsen Filipana and Mark Graham. That was my pinch myself moment. It was like, how can I be around these guys? But absolutely incredible to meet your idols like that. You head to Bradford for the 2001 season, and you quickly become a fan favourite, become one of the Bradford Bulls' awesome foursome, along with Stuart Fielden, Brian McDermott, and Paul Anderson. Did you find many differences between the game here in Australia and New Zealand and then over in the English Super League? Was there much difference?
I thought the first few years I was there, there was a lot more emphasis on attack. Where in the Aussie, in Aussie, there was defence was a big, emphasis on defence. There was a lot more attacking styles over there. There was a bit more higher scores going on week in, week out, and but I think that changed as more and more over the years. Every year there'll be an Aussie or New Zealand coach come over to coach in the English league, and then the defence started picking up. The techniques, the wrestling all started coming in as well. Definitely those first couple of years, I thought, there was a big gap with the defence from the two games.
Well, you have immediate success there in your first season at Bradford, and you won the 2001 Super League Grand Final against the Wigan Warriors. Describe the feeling of winning the Grand Final.
Well, it was the first one. Of the years, I guess it's, you come from a team that have, had that roller coaster, and you've had the bounce of the ball not go your way. You've had the call not go your way, So to come into a team that, and they weren't, they had tasted success, but they weren't, the favourites to win that year. But I guess it was one of those, the team that the players that we had just clicked, and I guess when you click and you take that onto the pitch, good relationships on the off the field. You have Brian Noble was our coach. He was, I think it was his first rookie season. He had coached under Matthew Elliott for a few years. So he had new ideas. He was it was to play our sport. Not many people win a grand final. So to actually finish my league career and have at least won one final, to have a grand final under my belt was special.
Well, you actually win 3, don't you? Didn't you win 3 at Bradford?
I won 3 Super Leagues. Yep, and won 2 Challenge Cups.
Yep.
Oh, 3.
Well,
3.
As the grand final winners, Bradford played against, in 2001, you played the Newcastle Knights in the 2002 World Club Challenge. You won that game 41-26. And you actually played in 3 World Club challenges. You beat Penrith 22-4 in 2004, and you beat the West Tigers 30-10 in 2006. How was it getting the results in those games over the more fancied NRL sides?
Yeah, I guess, there was a first, because of the time they play, there was also especially in the first 1 or 2 years, I think there was the Aussie boys were just coming for a holiday, expecting to win,
Yep.
so as that the first 2 years and they got belted a bit, and then they started taking this seriously, but I think that first couple of years, and I'm not taking anything away from our boys, because we went prepared and we went to win. Obviously there was anytime anybody plays against an Australian team, everybody's against those fellas. Even though there's Kiwi boys playing in there, we're like, hey bro, I can't talk to you because there's people watching us, but I'll see you after the game. I remember we played Penrith one year, and we had Tony Polito and Joe Galaveo and a couple of the boys, and we'd known those fellas from over here. So as we come out of training, the boys, did the high fives and the chest pump and all that. And we had a couple of our English coaching staff go, "What the hell are you doing?" Like, "Hey man, the boys, man, the boys." So we thought, we'll save that till after the game, boys. There's some sookie bubbles over here. But I guess, like I said, after that first couple of years where they got a thump, the Aussie boys, we gave it to them. They started to come prepared, and waited to after the game to when they started drinking.
Well, you retired from rugby league at the end of the 2008 season, returning to NZ to coach the East Bay Barracudas alongside Willie Swan in 2009 and 2010. So how did you enjoy the foray into coaching, and is it something you continued with?
So I came home, and I guess it was just one of those, Willie, what are you doing on the Tuesday, Thursday? Nothing. You want to come down? Yeah, because my wife's got all these trials for me to do, so I just come down Tuesday, Thursday evenings, and get out on a Saturday. So that's why I got into the coaching, to get away from all my chores I had to do at home.
Note to self.
So that's how it started. Willie was the head coach. I was just a water boy / assistant coach / carpool buddy.
Post footy, what have you been involved in? What have you been up to since in the last 10, 11 years? I've been pretty lucky compared to others, and some some old teammates, or you hear the stories after playing all these years that no one's got, haven't got a house or anything that they've invested in. So I was quite lucky that I got a couple into some property. I've always knew I had a connection with kids and helping out our youth, and particularly our Māori and Pacifica youth that we have here. Spending a long time away from home, 8 years in the UK, coming back, and just seeing when I went back to, there's a festival in Auckland, Grayland Festival, the park, and so it's just when it was the first time I came back, and I just said, oh man, our kids, they need a bit of, it was just, they hadn't gone in my mind, they need a bit of direction. So I didn't know which. I knew I needed to work with kids. I just didn't know which part, because there's youth at risk, there's police, there's this youth, that youth. So I had to navigate my way around. I started a trust, and I ended up going back to St. Paul's College, not employed, but I said to them, I said, hey, listen, too many guys are just coming to play league, but they need a plan B. If you let me base here, I got contacts to the hospital and the New Zealand police, and I'll talk to these fellas about, as well as all good playing league, but here's what about what's your plan B option, what's your plan C. So sort of got into that for the
first 5 years coming back and really enjoyed that. And then had an opportunity after a beer with a mate to move into hiring machines, big diggers, heavy machinery. And then we're still doing that. And then opportunity came. And 5 years ago now into deconstruction. So instead of demolition, we smash a house and throw it to our landfill, throw all the good material into landfill. We created a deconstruction company where we strip it. We use resalvage materials, construction material from the away from the landfill and repurpose it. So right now we're the largest in New Zealand in deconstruction.
Oh, that's awesome. Keeping yourself busy.
Very environmentally friendly, isn't it?
Yeah. This might be a bit of a silly question, but
I think I didn't even know how to spell it. I didn't even know how to spell environmental when I got into this, but now, somebody said we're environmentalists, what we do, and being privileged to, blessed to be able to employ people, and in particular of our Māori and Pacifica communities.
Well, this might be a bit of a silly question, but are you still a Warriors fan? And prior to COVID, did you attend home games regularly?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
I'm a loyal person. I still go and watch my local club, despite the fact that my kids play for other local teams in Auckland. I still go down to Grayland Park. I still got my Richmond jersey. I have a Richmond hoodie, and I, just my son's he's in the just outside of the 30 for the Warriors this year. He had to come back for an op, so.
Is that your son?
Yeah.
Nice.
Isaiah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So
he's on development contract at the moment.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So he's supported, and I'm giving an opportunity for sport. That's my job. So yep, I put in my order for tickets for what is it? So yeah, I'm a loyal supporter.
Very good.
Yeah.
How hard has it been?
Obviously, I'm sure.
Yeah. How hard has it been the last year and a half as New Zealand-based fans watching the team and supporting them from afar with no engagement with them at all? I imagine it's been pretty difficult.
Yep. I mean, yeah, I guess despite being the ups and downs we do, they're still our team. So, we can, we still want to go and watch the boys and support the boys. But obviously with COVID, it's not to be. So it is different. We're hungry for our team, to watch our team, to yell at them, to cheer them on, to go and pat their back, and what every other fans around Australia get to do week in, week out. So it's been tough, but I guess when the announcement came on, there was some there's been some interest for getting tickets, and so I think there's quite a bit of excitement for the boys coming back.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about that. Are you planning to go to that game?
Well, there was Jerry Susio, who works at the club. He put out an email. He goes, "Hey, if there's any interest, does anyone want to have an old boys' day?" And I was the first one. Yep. And then I looked back at the thread about an hour later. I think about 20, 30 of the boys. They said, "Yep, we're all in. We're keen." So
Awesome.
It'll be good to. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of the boys who've played, for the club. They're still. Big fans of the boys, big fans of, loyal to the club. So yeah, we still bleed the Warriors.
Yeah, just regarding the modern game, what are the players what players what players in the current game do you like watching play these days?
Well, I guess for like in terms of the Warriors, if you're saying, even for this year, I've always been a fan of Roger and what he does week in, week out. I'm always amazed at his work, at what he does, just what he does. Excited with when you get in the beginning of the year, we had the pack that we had. There was excitement with Adam Blake.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with injuries and all of that, and then this young kid who's that Reese, he's got some excitement about him. He's got some speed and some skill about him, and he's 18, and you can just see him get a few more games under his belt, and he's gonna go. But I guess just watching these guys now, back at, obviously the body shape of players are different to when I was playing. I think we're a bit more musclier than they were these days. They're a bit more lean these days. We're bulky.
Different training styles though too, isn't it? They train completely differently to how you guys would have trained back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, and I guess the training techniques and the methods, and I think when I came back from the UK, I went into the Warriors gym and I saw a weightless treadmill, and they even had a hyperbaric chamber where all the bikes are in.
Yeah.
I was going, shit, if this was here, I would have been fit. I could have been a really fit player if I had all this equipment when I was playing. But yeah, I guess, sports science and tech, all that stuff have come into play. And so, the body shapes of forwards now, you got forwards who are lean, and I can just hear the pounding that they go from the sideline. And sometimes I can't believe I played this game for so long. But it's a bit disheartening for an old player when you see some of these guys, because of the rule changes and this crackdown, that they falling over when somebody whacks their hair, and they're like falling over. Oh, come on, boys! I don't want to be turning into those football players. So I guess the days that when I was around, there was not so much the birth, but the physicality of the game, and I think that's what. Well, I know that was for a lot of people around us. That's what they loved. That's why they watched the game, because the physicality, the shoulder charges, but yeah, I guess what they're doing to protect players. Oh, that's fair enough, but I think they just need to ease up on the crackdown they're doing, and maybe let a shoulder charger in, a shoulder charge or two in every now and then.
Spoken like a true front row.
Okay, Joe, I'm going to, just before we wrap up, I'm going to ask you some questions that we ask all of our guests while Hammer scrolls through some of the questions from the viewers. So who was your toughest teammate?
Principal.
Hands down. Who was, yeah. Yeah, no, we definitely picked up on that one. Yeah. Who was the best sledger?
Matthew Ridge.
Oh wow, gee, that was quick.
Ridgey Ditch, yep. Who was the biggest pest?
Biggest pest. Oh shit. That's a tough one. I mean, I'm not sure who a pest would be. Classify a pest.
You mentioned earlier.
Yeah, well,
someone that just annoyed the shit out of you. City Roo.
Why not? Well, actually, I won't go Sideri, but Oh, well, yeah. You can throw Sid Airy. You can say Dr. Death. He was always
Jason
he
Death,
was always
yeah.
in someone there. Like, oh, leave me alone, mate. Leave me alone.
All right. Interesting.
Both hookers.
Uh,
Yeah, they both played hooker. Yeah.
and then you'd always have another number 9 was Robert. Hey Joey, how'd I go? Did I go? Oh mate. Yeah, so yeah, I've thrown all my hookers that I played with.
Yeah.
Bloody hookers. Who was your toughest opponent?
Oh, toughest opponent. She's you're taking me back to days when there was all the big legends of the game, eh? So
Yeah.
it's pretty tough to answer, but I guess one of the moments that still stand out was Mark Geyer. So
Oh yeah.
I had an on-field incident, which wasn't me, but he got up and I think he was frothing in his eyes. He was a bit, and I was a young kid. He was playing in Perth, I think.
Oh, the Western Reds.
He was about to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was a young kid. I was about to shit myself, but yeah, lucky didn't throw any. But Mark Guy was he was pretty. Well, yeah, like I said, yeah, I had the Glenn Lazarus, who was
I was going to say him.
I was a big fan of. The Chief, yeah, too many, but I'll throw in Mark Guy.
Big MG. Yep. Who was the best trainer?
Best trainer? She's I'd say it was Steve Kearney back in the days. Yeah, he was an ultimate professional.
We've heard that before.
Yeah, we've definitely heard that said. Yeah,
he was the nerd of training. He'd do everything that he had to do and more. When guys wanted to put ice into the drinks, he was icing up shoulders, injuries, and ice up for hours while we were all trying to put on clothes to go out for a drink after a game. Yeah,
I saw him. I caught up with him after the game on the weekend, and he still looks like he could play. He still looks fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's been fit. He is fit. Looks. He did look a bit gaunt back in over here when he was going, mate. Yeah, everything all right there. So,
Who was the team comedian?
Coaching does that. Yeah.
Team comedian. I might have to throw my hookers in there. Dr. Death was always
Jason
a bit
Death
of a laugh. Sid Airy's a laugh.
Yeah.
Stacey Jones when he's had a few line reads.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh no, he wasn't a comedian. He was just cheeky. Yeah. So no, those Jason Death and Sid Airy, they're pretty pretty funny guys. I tell you, who was almost a comedian. Mark Ellis. Mark Ellis was a crack up.
Oh yeah, Mark
was
Ellis. Used to do
Wow.
the show with Matthew Ridge.
Yeah.
Does the show with Matthew Ridge over there.
Yeah. So Mark Ellis was a bit of a he's a.
We got some questions from the fans. Who was tougher to tackle, Mark Carroll or the Chief?
I'd say Mark Carroll,
Yeah?
because he bumped me off a couple of times. I do record a Chief running over me on the first time I played Newcastle. He ran. I think I got a size 14 imprint of his boot on my chest. Only happened once, but
He's done it to a few players once. Did you have any pre-game rituals or game day routines that you used to stick to?
Yeah, I used to put my left sock on first, and I'd always have to have a spew. I just felt a bit more at ease if I'd have a big power chuck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that was just before the run out. I'd always have to just quickly go in the bathroom and bit of a power chuck.
Yeah,
It was
you gotta
nerves,
get it all out of your stomach.
and that would just calm my nerves down. And that was after 14, 15 years. From the last game, I had to have a power track just to ease the nerves a bit.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Who were your heroes growing up?
Mark Graham. Mark Graham was my hero,
Yep.
and the New South Wales team.
Oh.
Oh, really? Yes.
Mark Graham. Yeah, I'm a Blues supporter, but Mark
Oh,
Graham.
that hurts
I
me
used
as a
to.
Queensland.
Love it, mate. Love it.
Well, you've been hurting since Wednesday, mate. So
Yeah, it's bad enough.
yeah. But when I was I played at Richmond Rovers Rugby League, and so when I was younger, I used to watch the Bulldogs. So the Mortimer brothers, I used to watch the Mortimer
Yep.
brothers
Yep.
back in the days. So they were pretty special brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, absolutely. What are your thoughts on the current game and the 6 again rule?
Oh well, I'd rather have the 6 than the crackdown on what they're having now. So yeah. I haven't got much of an issue with the 6 again, but there are some calls. There's always they're always looking to speed things up. But yeah, I think my only, like I said, only issue I have right now is this crackdown and the level that the guys going to or referees are going to crack down on it. There's got to be some common sense that comes into this crackdown.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been saying that for weeks. If you didn't become an NRL player, what career path do you think you would have taken?
I've always wanted to be a cop.
Yeah.
When I was young, but then I found out you had to run 2.4 Ks in 10 minutes and 30 seconds. So I went, frickin' Nick, he's going to run 2.4 Ks in 10 seconds. I said, geez, this my body type at 6'4" and 100 and over 100 kilos wasn't made to run under 2.4 Ks under 10 minutes.
Doesn't the bullet travel faster than that anyway? So,
Yeah. Or your RT call for the helicopter. You don't have to run 2 kilometers.
Who were the biggest influences on your career?
Definitely the family, the parents. Yeah, definitely. That's definitely one. In terms of coaches, well, Frank Endicott did a bit with myself as a younger grade, but I guess if I take it back before that, there was I had an American. My first coach in rugby league was his name was Terry McGowan, Richmond under 8s, and he made us fall in love with rugby league. Had the environment, had kids, we had teammates who had no boots. He would, find boots, take everybody back to his house, feed us, and just that's where the joys of my love of rugby league. So Terry McGowan.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
Joe, we really want to thank you for coming on and chatting with us tonight so candidly. I know it's late over there in New Zealand. Our followers and the Warriors fans love hearing about our past players. So thanks very much for giving us your time. To us, we have a saying that once you play for the club, you are forever and always, and you, Joe Vagana, are forever and always Warrior number 18.
Yeah, appreciate you fellas having me on, and really enjoyed sharing my journey with the club. And again, thanks for having me. And when you've got another time, I can talk about my tries, but I'll probably need a bit more time. I've got so many tries to tell you about.
We're saving all that for next time.
Actually, I'll tell you what. It's a real possibility that the next time we speak to you, we can be talking about the first father-son ever to play for the Warriors. If all the reports that we're hearing about Isaiah are true, coming through.
Well, it's I try not to put too much pressure on the young fella, but it has been spoken about, but not by me, but yeah, he's got a good head on his shoulders. Injuries right now, but yeah, I'm sure he'll do a lot better than his old man if that's the pathway that he's going to carry on. But you never know, mate. You never know.
What position is he?
He's a back row, he's played in the middle as well. So 6 foot, 110 kilo, 6'5", 110 kilos.
Wow. So he's like in the mold of Eli Katoa.
Ali Katoa, yeah. Hopefully he can, yeah, like I said, play alongside Ali down the line in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure. We've just loved going back and reminiscing about the OG days. It's been a real treat for us. So we really appreciate you giving up your time and having a chat with us. So we definitely thank you.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys. And good to talk to you and all your fans out there, all your supporters and of your station. So thanks, guys. And go the Warriors. We'll keep the faith.
Brother. Go the Warriors.
Keep the faith, yeah. Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye.